So now the most important thing is actually, why do we need prioritization? We actually set up what is prioritization. We understood what do we kind of prioritize. But then the important thing to understand is why, what is the value add of this kind of a prioritization? So if you see this, I mean, the people say that so many things to do, I don't have so much time. I have got very little time, but so many things to do, right? So we all are bound by this. It's not whether we are small, whether we're young, we are old, whether we are, in Asia, Europe, what life cycle we are in, whether we're into IT, non-IT, it doesn't matter. What life stage we are in doesn't matter. We're actually stuck with this aspect of doing so many things within such a small time. That's the problem. We all have the constraint of time. Time is the biggest constraint. So we need to take decisions. We need to take decisions in terms of what we need to do, who we need to talk to, why we need to do some things and why not some other things, where we need to do some things, right? How we can go about doing things, or whether it could be the work-related stuff or life-related stuff. There's so many decisions we need to take. It's all about decisions in our life. And it's important we prioritize these decisions depending on importance versus urgency. Decisions have to be taken and we've got to do certain things, but then some things can wait, right? So what things can wait and what things need to be done now is all about prioritization. That's what is prioritization all about. It's also about unlimited potential. We can do so much. I mean, I remember one of the sayings of Archimedes, the greatest scientist or inventor, I could say, the Greek inventor. When I was studying in my childhood, we actually heard one saying of Archimedes who says that, give me a lever long enough, I can actually lift the earth, right? I can lift the earth if there is a lever long enough to be able to lift that. If you give me that, then I can show it, I can actually lift the whole earth because it's round and it's a ball. But then the point is all about giving our creating that kind of a big lever to be able to lift it. It's like somebody saying that, I'm actually very strong. I can be really strong. I can lift that whole big mountain. Okay, fair enough. Go ahead, do that. All you need to do is to just lift it and put it on my shoulders. I can lift it, right? So that's the whole approach that we have with the work and productivity. There's so much to do. There's so much potential for innovation, potential for work. But the problem is with the resources, with the paucity, with the scarcity of resources that we have. It could be time, people, skills, whatever you say. It's all very limited. So within the limited period, what can we do? How can we optimize? How can we kind of make the best use of the people, their time, the materials, the money, and all the other resources, the soft resources, the hard resources? It's all about how we can work together to maximize this and minimize the number of the resources or the amount of resources that we consume, right? It's all about that. And that's what management is all about. Management is not about getting work done by people. Management is actually kind of, the word management is to do something in such a way that you're minimizing the number of resources or the amount of resources that you use to create a maximum output from that. Right? That is management. So in the context of, for example, right now we're talking eco-sensitive, ecological and environment-friendly solutions because there's only one planet that we have. I mean, we keep talking about all these things now. Thankfully, people are getting a lot more and more aware about the aspect of how we should protect our planet. There's only one planet, Earth. We can go to Mars. There are some options there, but then can we survive and live in the same way that we are here? Right, that's all about how we need to kind of prioritize our ways of work and ways of living to maximize our outcome and outputs from here, as well as minimizing the consumption of the resources. So they're talking about making carbon neutral, right? So you're trying to actually offsetting your work. If you're traveling from here to New York, for instance, from London to New York or from London to Mumbai, you're actually consuming a lot of your the carbon fuels generated from the travel. So how can you offset that? Either by planting 10 different trees or by doing something which can actually kind of offset or which can which can balance and compensate that consumption is what we are talking about now, right? So that's the consciousness, that's awareness that we're talking about. So again, prioritization. If you've got 10 different things, the 3 options that you have to do something, the option that we need to work out is what is the best option in terms of my needs, my goals, and my my resources. And then the second option, the important thing that also need to consider, the layer of filter, is you also need to consider, is it good? Is it moral? Is it legal? Is it safe to do? Is it convenient, safe, legal, and moral to do for the rest of the people? And the third most important filter that you need to apply in terms of prioritization is it ecologically safe? Is it good for Earth? Is it good for the planet? Is it good for the environment? Then you do it. So something like that, we can always try and work it out. So that's the reason why I would say that we need to prioritize in terms of whatever we do, whether it is to do with our life, career, or the work that we do in terms of development. So again, if you see in the last 5 years or so, there's so much of really explosive growth of devices, technologies, platforms, operating systems. You've got so much technology now. You're spoiled for choice. You've got PCs, desktops, you've got laptops, mobile phones, tablets, so many options there. And within each of those, you've got Android and you've got Apple. Within Apple, you've got iOS, latest version iOS. Now today, as we speak, Apple is releasing the next version of iOS 12, the next version of their phones, iPhone 12 as well, and iOS, next version of iOS, which is 14. And so on and so forth. Even Google does the next version, and something else Microsoft comes up with its own operating system, updates, so many options there, so many different vendors offering the solutions. What is it that we need to do? Why do we need so many things? Because we need to prioritize in terms of the platforms, whether it is desktop, should it work with desktop, with web browser, what kind of browsers? We've got no less than 10 different browsers on each of these devices. And what within each of the browsers, whether you've got Opera, you've got Safari, Firefox, Chrome, blah, 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 IE, Edge, and within each of them, they've got different versions. And then you've got mobile, separate operating systems for mobile. So you've got native apps for iOS, native apps for Android, Windows phones. And then within each of these, you've got different channels. So for example, you also need to look at the kind of channels you need to make your product available. Is it through the print stream? Is it digital platform? Is it something like on the interactive TV format? Is it completely online? Is it social media like LinkedIn, Facebook? Do you have to have a separate Facebook page? Should you have a separate YouTube channel to actually kind of reach out to your target audience? So operating systems, Windows, Apple, you've got so many, Linux, open source, so many different things, so many different browsers. So you are literally spoiled for choice. So that's where prioritization is required. You cannot develop a product, the e-commerce website that we were talking about for mobile accessories. You cannot just have it and then say that I want to have this mobile phone made available on all the platforms and all the channels and all the devices and all the operating systems from day one. So that's a big problem. And take it from me, that kind of multi-platform or cross-browser testing is a nemesis, is a nightmare. So it takes so much time to actually test a particular website on 10 different versions of the browser, 10 different browsers, 10 different devices. It's a nightmare to do the testing. So what you do is, before you actually say that I want to actually have an app, or I want to have this mobile application or mobile accessory selling website, you need to prioritize, where do you want to have that, which browsers, which operating system, what. So that's where the prioritization comes in. It really comes in handy to help you identify and make your life easy, and make not just your life, but also your team, your stakeholders, your customers, users, pretty much everybody's life is easy when you kind of prioritize. You can always say, you know what, don't worry, we're just having this, for example, the application that we have got on Texavi Analyst Zone, it's available only on Android now, but we are making it, we are working towards making it on iOS as well. That's okay. We can always say that now upfront. We can always say there are known issues, there are limitations known that we are working on. So you don't have to really make it like you can't please everyone every time.